Many of you would have heard me speak about the Route 21 Garage Collection. And in some episodes you hear me speak about, I've just added one of these to my private collection, or I would love to add one of these to my private collection. Now in this episode I'm actually going to share with you, what is this Route 21 Garage all about? When did this dream and this vision start? How long ago? Where am I going with this? What story am I trying to tell? I'm also going to talk about what's next in the evolution or journey of Route 21 Garage. And I'm also going to talk about what types of bikes I'm hunting down, chasing down, and what bikes I have, and why I've collected certain bikes into the collection, and the story they tell. Now, I'm also going to give you in this episode a first sneak preview at some of the gems I have in this collection currently. Unfortunately, I cannot share all the bikes because part of the problem is they are currently stored in 7 different locations. Just scanning around the room, what we have here on the left is a 1971 Ducati 250cc silver shotgun. It's a restoration project. I've done part 1. Dave Frizzoli in Belito restored this motor for me, and what an artisan, what a phenomenal job he did with that. Also another thing, I got brand new side covers, a few new pieces for this bike, and the side covers, the original paint is that glitter silver. And I was fortunate enough in 2018 to be at World Ducati Week and meet the late great Paul Smart, and he signed those side covers. So once this bike is complete, it's going to be a signed 250cc silver shotgun signed by Paul Smart. Fantastic, super exciting. On my right here, I have my go-to bike, my mule. It's a BMW R1250 HP, the GS Adventure. Stunning bike, love it, ride it a lot. I do all my tours on this, and I've also done a little preview on this. If you want to know more about this bike, let me know. But fantastic bike, a runner I'm enjoying. A mothball bike here under the cover storage, an R18 first edition. A lot of these bikes are covered and mothballed because, as you can see, they're all in storage, 7 different locations. They're too difficult to get out. They're too difficult to plug into trickle chargers and keep running. So until I have one big warehouse, that's unfortunately where I'm stuck with. But going back here, an early 70s Benelli monkey bike. Next up is another bike I'm currently running and enjoying. It is a limited edition Aprilia RS660 Stars and Stripes. Behind that, also a bike I'm running and enjoying. It is the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone of 2021. It is not just any old V7, it's the Centenario celebrating 100 years. And this bike over here is actually the custom build I'm busy doing, and it's going to end up the tribute bike to the V8 Moto Guzzi had 1955 racer. Now going to this side, let's have a look at the bottom. This is pretty much my pride and joy, where the real passion all started. I'm going to uncover them now, just going through. The story is, these are the homologation races for Ducati for the World Superbike Racing. So every single twin they raced, every shape, and the most successful years. So we have a 888 SP4, 916 SP, 996R, 999R, 1098R, finishing off with the Panigale R, and then they went to the V4s. Up on top we have the Paul Smart, not just any old Paul Smart. I did an episode of this. It has all the Corsa fairings, Terminoni. It's never been PDI, never been run. It's got 3 kilometers factory mileage, and the late great Paul Smart also signed 4 pieces on this bike. Next to it we've got the Thruxton R Grand Slam. More about that now. Next to that we have the Bimota Tesi 3D. Here we have the F4 MV Augusta Tamburini Corsa, the F3 Ago signed by Ago. Here we have the Bimota Tornado LE. We have some V7 races, Centenario, BMW HP2. Up there's the HP4. We have 2 special R1s up here. We've got the 50W GP and the R1 SP special production. Both numbered bikes, both gold tuning forks. Up in the corner, the last of the Repsol fire blades before the fairing in front became so chopped and cut off. Really nice piece. Down in the bottom, if we go over there, we've got a Aprilia RS 125 Herrada replica. Next to it, a Miele R. Next to that, I think we've got the first of the fire blades, the 1992 fire blade. Next to that, I don't even know what's next to that. In that little red cover over here is a 1950 MV Augusta. Here we've got the 2013 Fireblade, also the SP, the special production, only 5,000 made. Then we have another V7, the Carbon Limited Edition. Then we have the, under the blue cover, we have the Triumph Bonneville T214. Then we have my mothballed first edition Ducati Multistrada. And I'll be very honest, I think in the back is the Buell Lightning. I did an episode on that, the SCG XP12 SCG Lowrider. But let me uncover some of these gems and share them in more detail. Here we have it, most of the bikes partly uncovered, and a sight I hardly ever see myself. I think that's a sin. These bikes are supposed to be enjoyed, and I love how colorful they are. Really, really stunning. So let me start at the beginning. I started riding motorcycles in 1986. I started on a Yamaha DT50, and I had to get one of those for the collection as well. I have that, as I say, off-site. And then in the late 80s, I rode through to Johannesburg to the Ducati dealer, and that's where I saw my first Ducati 851. And that's where I vowed I had to own the Ferrari of motorcycles, a Ducati. Then, obviously, when the Ducati 916 was launched, that was the end of the story. I was in love. So this is where the journey started, with the dream and fantasy of owning Ducatis. And this is why I call this my pride and joy. And what these 6 red bikes, these Ducatis, constitute is the homologation bikes of all the Ducatis that they ran in the World Superbikes, one of every shape. And what a homologation bike is, it is MotoGP is prototype bikes, World Superbikes are production-based bikes. Now, depending on the size of the company, the FIM gives the manufacturer a minimum number of bikes to produce to call it a production motorcycle. Now, for example, looking up on top, you have this Benelli. Now, Benelli was a much smaller company, and they had to produce 150 special bikes to call it a production bike. Now, Ducati, through the years, they were given numbers anywhere from 360 to 500 to produce to call it a production bike. And these were called homologation bikes, the specials. Now, all the shapes, these 6 constitute all the shapes they ran, starting off with the 851, which was bought out to a 888, similar shape. And we have here the 888 of 1992, a 888 SP4. Doug Poland won the championship quite convincingly. Next, the shape changed to the 916. Now, 916 came out in 1994. I had to have the 95. 2 reasons for that. After the Senna 1, the 94 Ducati 916 Senna 1, Senna asked for Ducati to always have stainless steel braided brake lines. So the 94 916 has the rubber hoses, and that gives you fade and spongy brakes as they heat up. And the second reason was this was the first production run that came back to the Bologna factory, because Ducatis were produced over that period at the Gagiva plant in Varese. So to commemorate that, they produced, of this 95 916 run, they only produced 401 to commemorate the number of production of the green frame, the 750 SS, also 401 produced. Next up, we have the 996R, very similar in shape. That shape finished off in 2002 with the 998R. This is a 2001 996R. In 2002, the 998R never won the championship, and that's why I chose to have the 996R in the championship set, as I call it. Troy Bayliss won that 2001 championship. So 888 SP4, 916 SP, and 996R. That's where they changed to the R, 2001, first year. This here is a 2004 999R. Again, they came out in 2003, won the championship immediately. 2003, 2004 have the 4 vents, and from 2005 only had the 2 vents at the bottom. I didn't want the 2003 one because that had the silver frame and the small swing arm at the back from 2004 onwards. So the 3 had the silver frame and thin swing arm. They had the bigger swing arm with a red frame, and James Toseland won the championship quite nicely on that one. Here we have the 2008 1098R, and this was rated as one of the closest ever to the actual World Superbike races. Troy Bayliss won the championship 2008. One of my favorites as well. Now, the 999R, or the 999, was designed by Pierre de Blanche, the South African. And interestingly, the 1098R was never, or the 1098 shape, had never had a designer credited to that shape. And the reason for that story is that the 1098R, or the 1098, was designed by the Ducatisti from around the world, meaning they were asked in a survey what they liked about this range. And this is why it would be so cool to have that warehouse where I could display them, because you can see that this is made up of all the nice features of all these bikes. For example, look at the headlights and the vents underneath. That comes off at 916, 996. If you look at the openings in the side fairings, they come off the 888. If you look at the rear seat cowl, that comes off the 999. So really the best of all the bygone eras. The final piece to the collection was the Panigale R. Initially, 2013, 2014 was called the 1199 Panigale R, and then the last two, 2015, 2016, was only called a Panigale R, but it's still the 1199. It is not the 1299 because they had to run 1200 cc's twins against the 1004s. So the R was a 1199 cc. And I did an episode when I collected this bike on all these bikes. Interestingly, each one of these bikes I have in the collection the helmet. So for example, I have with this 2016 Panigale R, I have Chaz Davies helmet signed by Chaz Davies. Here I have the Carlos Checker and the Troy Bayliss helmet signed over here. I also have a Troy Bayliss helmet signed, the Phillip Island helmet signed, the Carl Fogarty helmet signed. Over here with this one, I have a Doug Poland helmet. However, that is still missing the signature. So this is the homologation set. Talking about homologation set, up here I have the Benelli Tornado. Not just any Tornado, this is also the homologation bike. As mentioned earlier, Benelli, much smaller company, they were told to produce 150 specials to call it a production bike. Now in 2002, Peter Goddard went racing World Superbikes. So they produced this ultra-light, ultra-special motorcycle. As you can see, carbon fiber all round. Everything is carbon fiber. The whole body is carbon fiber. Öhlins, Brembos. This bike has everything. It's much lighter. It's a 900cc triple cylinder. So absolutely fantastic bike. 150 made. This bike is number 52. So in the set of homologation bikes. Then here, when I talk about namesake bikes, I've got the MV Agusta F3 Ago, the Giacomo Agostini. Over here you see he's number one. This bike has not even been PDI'd, pre-delivery inspection. It's brand new out the box. Next up, the MV Agusta F4 Tamburini Corsa. This bike is number 2 of 300 produced. By the way, this is number 295 of 300. So this bike is number 2. And also I did an episode of this out in the sun. This bike really pops. All of these bikes should be out in the sun. Next up, we have motorcycle art. Have a look at this. This is the Bimota Tesi 3D, one of the early ones. Everything on this bike is billet machined. Even the levers, the brake and clutch lever. This is that design study. It started with the Tesi 1D, 2D, and this is the 3D. It still has the suspension under tension. So as you sit on it, the two swing arms open up and the suspension pulls apart. And you can see the whole body is made of carbon fiber, natural carbon fiber. All the trick bits and Mavic wheels, light, motorcycle art, brilliant. Here you see the bearing inside, also has to turn, so it's like a gyro. Here you have your telescopic arms. You see your steering mechanism at the bottom. I would love to do a review on this bike. However, these bikes, it's a 3-man job to get them off from the top, and I'm not going to do that for each review. I will rather wait for when we move into that warehouse next, and then you can ask me, send comments, and I will delve into these bikes, do reviews in depth. Next up is one of my favorite bikes, and I say one of my favorite bikes, I don't know, it just looks brilliant, it handles cool, I love it. It's a really special bike to me, and I did a review on this. I called it the Grand Slam. Reason I called it a Grand Slam is because you've got a British bike in the name of Triumph, British manufacturer, It's called the Thruxton, which is a famous British racetrack, and you have the famous British racing green color. And it has all the trick bits from your fancy suspension to your Brembos. I think it has Olin rears, Shawa fronts, ABS. It is just all round a really special bike. Handles well, got good power, and if you look at the clocks on this bike, it's looks like a Breitling clock. Next, we have that stunning gem of mine, one of my real favorites. It is the Paul Smart. This is the second of the Paul Smarts I've ever owned. Unfortunately, I don't have the first one anymore. That was sold on. But this is the one that's brand new, actually. It has the full Corsa fairings. I put the full livery on, as Paul Smart had on his bike. This bike has the 3 kilometers factory PDI on it. And the late, great Paul Smart signed this bike for me in 4 different places. I've done an episode. I will blend this in at the end. And just absolute gems. If you look here, you've got 12 bikes on top here. I think that rack at the back has another 10. There's a few more. So over here you have about 30 motorcycles. Then there are another 10 more in different rooms on this property. Then there is more off-site storage. So the collection is fairly comprehensive, nearly ready to open up doors to be called a museum. But more about this now. Here we have the Aprilia RS660, also a limited edition. As you can see, I love the specials and I like to preserve them and keep them to share with the public later. Limited edition to 1500, number 840. Story behind this is that in their maiden year, Aprilia won the American Motorcycle Championship for twins, and to celebrate that, they got the famous American Stars and Stripes livery. It's a 2022 bike made last year. Also, just trivia, it happens to be my Route 21 colors, so it's a personal favorite of mine. Next up, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, it is the Moto Guzzi V7. I must say, I really enjoy Moto Guzzi. There's something really special about them. Last year, I was overseas in Italy at Mandello dell'Ario, at the museum and factory. And in today's day and age, in 2023, to have an old Italian company at the original factory, the original site next to the lake, and producing these bikes by hand is something truly special. They're so nostalgic. I just love them. So here we have the 100-year celebration bike, Centenario, which will be the tribute bike to Moto Guzzi's 1955 V8 Racer. Over here we have a Racer 1 V7. I have the Racer 3 as well in the collection, so just missing Racer 2. Under the black cover, I'm not going to uncover it now, is the V7 Carbon. It's the 3rd edition Racer, and that celebrates the birth year. Birth year was 1921, so 1921. Next is the Bonneville T214, celebrating 214 mile an hour on the Bonneville Flats for Triumph. Next up is the 2003 Ducati Multistrada 1st edition that I mothballed with 132,000 kilometers. And the last one in the corner is my Buell XB12 SCG Lowrider. Now, here we have the only other V7 Centenario. There's only 2 in South Africa, and they're standing side by side. This will stay as a brand new display. I have the crate for it, and this particular bike over here will be the custom tribute bike. Here we have the BMW HP2, also instrumental in the evolution for BMW to go World Superbike racing. This is the highest performing boxer motor air-cooled ever produced by BMW. This is a fantastic machine. As you can see, all carbon, and all these bikes tell a story. I'm sure you're getting into my head as what I collect. It's these specials, the rare pieces you don't see on the road that end up in collections. So BMW HP2 for High Performance 2, that evolved into that one under the cover over there, which is the BMW HP4 High Performance for the first homologation World Superbike racer, inline 4. Next up over there, as I mentioned earlier, I think was the R1s with the gold tuning fork. We have the 50WGP and the SP Special Production. Both numbered bikes, 1,000 produced, 2,000 produced. I have done an episode on my other R1s. I have a 60th anniversary and the 50th anniversary SP, also gold tuning forks, 500 made of that one. Here is one of the last of the Fireblade Repsols before the nose went flat. I think that's a 2007. In the corner, Aprilia RS125 Harada replica. Next to it, a Mille R. At the back here is a few more. I don't even know. There should be a CBR 1992 Fireblade, the early one, 900cc. Under the red cover is a 1959 MV Augusta as well. So all round, this is the part of the collection, an insight into the stories. I mean, I've got homologation bikes, I've got namesake bike, Art Deco, I've got custom restoration tribute bikes. So it would be really nice to put them under one roof where I can do comparisons, where I can show evolution, where I could truly show how the 1098R came to be, or the 1098, sorry, it's not just the R, the 1098 Tricolore, the Biposta, all of them, the S, how they were designed from all the special features of the previous models. And all around, guys, I can also do comparisons of a 1981 Suzuki Katana versus a 1981 Ducati Mike Halewood. Same era, same generation. Do a comparison on horsepower and handling of the two. That just opens up many more possibilities once I put them under the roof. So this is why I'm asking you guys, I need your help. I need you to please hit that subscribe button to help me build this channel so I can grow and put all of these bikes, take them from all 7 locations, put them under one roof so I can display them all and share them with you. I want to open it to the public. So yes, you guys are always welcome. Once I have a location, I will share that with you. And the dream is to have it open to the public, not to hide these gems away, to actually share them and tell the stories of the bikes. And guys, I hope you have a better understanding of the Route 21 Garage, our channel, where we're going. Yes, I love motorcycles. I love reviewing motorcycles, the latest things on the market and the crazies. And along the way, I will keep on adding to the collection. I will share with you what's coming, what's going. Sometimes, sadly, I have to sell one to get something else because the funds, unfortunately, have a limit. They're not never ending. However, guys, please, I need your support. Hit that subscribe button to help me build this channel and grow the channel. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, give me a thumbs up. And if you want, hit that reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading a new content, or else to know where this channel is and where this museum and the evolution of the new premises are. Guys, thank you very much for the support. See you next episode.